Do you want to know how we spot hidden gems with pre-foreclosures and always make sure we have meat on the bone on the property when we market into pre-foreclosures, either to fix and flip or to knock off the property and build from the ground up? Now that we're full-time into real estate new development, where you're watching the right video, like, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to it. Guys, how do you spot a hidden gem, an actual deal when marketing to pre-foreclosures, off-market, direct to sellers? Guys, one of the non-negotiables when it comes to real estate is what we call equity. Equity basically is like, if you love steak like me, if you go to the steakhouse, equity is the meat surrounding your bone. Imagine going to the steakhouse and then you get served with a steak and you look at your plate and all you have is a bone with no meat at all. Unless you're a dog, only two things are going to happen depending if you're a hard biter or a soft biter, right? Is either you lose all of your teeth or you lose one tooth at least, right? And so obviously in order to enjoy a steak, you need meat around the bone. It's the same exact thing when it comes to real estate, guys. If you are buying a distressed home through pre-foreclosure marketing, check out my whole playlist showing you exactly how you can market to pre-foreclosures off market, guys. Well, guess what? If you're marketing to these properties, one thing you need on this property is what we call equity. Equity is basically the difference between whatever the seller owes to the bank and what you can resell the property for after it's fully fixed up. And in real estate, we call that ARV, which is after repair value. A lot of people struggle with pre-foreclosures because what they do is they go wide, they go wild. What I mean by that is they market to every single seller that is going through pre-foreclosure that they see online or auction.com or preforeclosure.com. They just call any random address and they don't care. So with pre-foreclosures, guys, you want to do the contrary. You are almost like, not almost, let me even reiterate that. You're an actual FBI, but for real estate. What you have to do is to put on your FBI hat. So you have to spend more time doing the data research, right? Making sure that the address you're calling is a quality, right, over quantity. So what I mean by that is instead of taking a list of 1,000 people and then calling each one of those addresses, you might only need 100 records from preforeclosures.com or auction.com. These are all public data, guys. This is not hidden. This is public data, absolutely legal to market to these homeowners. And so it's either quality over quantity. What I mean by that is you do the data research first, and then you build what we call a criminal case in this scenario, right? Just for the analogy's sake, a criminal case. What I mean by criminal case, guys, is just a suspect case, right? So what you want is few things that are combined. You want a seller that is more on the older side. What I mean by older side is 65 probably and up. Why is that? Because the longer the owner have owned this property, the most likely that this property have built up in equity. So if somebody have bought their property 20 years plus ago, most likely they haven't renovated the property. That's number one. Number two, the property had time to build equity so that in case you come in and make them a fair cash offer and you get that property under contract, well, you or your buyer can also renovate that property, put it in the back end and sell it and still make a profit. So that's the first requirement, is that we go after sellers that are on the older side. We don't deal with younger owners unless one of the things we found when we market to the older homeowners is that also typically there is always some probate involved. What I mean by probate is either the homeowner already passed away, so they left it to their children, and then what we do is now we start finding the family members. We talk to a cousin, a nephew, a daughter, a son. So we always end up having to do some sort of probate process as well in order to get the property. So that's the second, right? That's the second criteria you want to make sure that you have in order to give you the most probable outcome to where you do have enough meat on the bone in order to make a profit in the back end. So I'm going to reiterate. So the first thing is you're marketing to homeowners that have owned their properties for 20 years or plus, ideally, right? Maybe 15 or plus. That's fine. And then after that, you also want to go on preforeclosures.com And then you want to go like on a site like PropStream or PropWire, which is PropWire is absolutely free. Look at their age. The older they are, the better, because most likely, like I said again, they're going through foreclosure. The property have built equity. So if you negotiate with them and you give them a fair cash offer, you can still also go in, renovate it, and be able to resell it for a profit and make obviously some money in order to feed your family as well after all your expenses, right? Which is what you want. Second thing you want is if there is a probate scenario is even better, because most families, 99.9% of families, guys, that inherit properties, guess what? They end up selling that property within the first 3 months. And the reason for that is because most people already have their life, they're already renting, they already bought their own property, they got their own bills going on. And so if a family member passed away and leave a property and that property have bills that haven't been paid, plus they have to go through the probate, pay all these attorney fees, they don't have the money. So typically they have to let the property go. So 99.9% of our deals, actually we have to deal with the family members, and the reason for that is because the owner passed away. So all the newbies that I see very, very frustrated with pre-foreclosures is because you're calling properties that have only been bought 5 years ago, younger owners, the property is upside down, there is no equity, and so you do all this work, all these calls, all these follow-ups, all these texts just to get them under contract, and then realize that the numbers doesn't work because the cash buyer, or even you yourself, if you are the cash buyer, there is no money to be made in the back end. All right, guys, one of the most powerful strategies in order to find great deals in real estate is definitely marketing to pre-foreclosures, guys, but you want to make sure you do it right. One last thing I want to say, the state also does matter. So guys, you have judicial states and then you have non-judicial states. Judicial states, I like to call them the blue states, is the Marylands, is the California, is New York. So these kind of states, because the process for the bank to foreclose on the property take a long time. It can take them 2-3 years sometimes to try to foreclose on a homeowner that haven't paid. These homeowners in those states don't have a sense of urgency, and so typically you end up, even Central Florida is the same. Typically you end up talking to homeowners that have zero sense of urgency to solve their problem because they know it's going to take the bank forever to try to foreclose on the property, which is why I hate investing in blue states myself. Right now, I have a property in Glen Burnie, Maryland that I financed to a family. It's been 9 freaking months. I'm trying to get them out. They haven't paid, and you can't get them out. So you basically don't own your property. I love red states, right? I call them non-judicial states. So Georgia is one, North Carolina is one, Arizona is one, Texas is definitely one. In those states, because the process for the bank to foreclose on the home, if you haven't paid for 3 or 6 months, is so fast, homeowners also have a sense of urgency because they realize that, listen, the bank only have about 3 months and I'm out of here. They're going to kick me out. I'm going to find myself on the street. So typically if you call them and you genuinely care and you do want to help and you do want to provide a solution, which is offering them a cash offer, a fair cash offer on the property, because most of these properties are also beat up and you're buying it as is, you're making it seamless, you're closing fast, you are credible, you can show them that, well, they will be willing to work with you because there is a sense of urgency, obviously, for the homeowners that are looking to sell. The homeowners that are looking to keep, guys, don't get involved. Don't try to help them. You're not an attorney. Again, full disclosure, I'm not an attorney myself. This is not legal advice, but stay away from spending time with homeowners that want to keep. Let them talk to an attorney and have the attorney help them, or let them call their lender and see what options the lender have for them to keep their property. You're only interested in the homeowners that are looking to sell because they feel like, listen, I'm tired of this. This has been a burden for me. This is like a mountain on my shoulders. I want to move on to the next chapter of my life. And if you guys can help me move on to the next chapter of my life, put some cash in my pocket, buy it as is. I don't have to fix anything. And I definitely don't want to deal with a real estate agent because I don't want to list my property on the market. Not only now all my neighbors that I have lived with for 20 years plus, or my dad or my mom have lived with, right now they can see that we haven't paid our bills, but they can also see how trash our property is. That is the reason why most of these homeowners prefer dealing with an investor off market where you close the property and nobody knows about it except them and you. They get paid, you get a property, you put it back on the market, you help a new family call that new product home. All right, guys, let me know if you enjoyed this video. Like the video, leave a comment below, and guys, please watch the pre-foreclosure playlist that I have. Is definitely going to help you in your journey in real estate. And if you're interested, obviously, guys, leave a comment below as well if you want to learn all these strategies with me and my team. personally, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, keep that boom mentality, which is stay bold, stay obsessed, stay optimistic, and lastly, keep that mindset abundance. There is enough for everybody. Boom, boom, boom.